Welcome to the round 14 preview as Carlton are set for a rematch with the West Coast Eagles. This time, it's away. It was actually away last time, even though it was a home game for us. We did play them in the gather round. We are now playing against the Eagles at Optus Stadium on their home deck in the graveyard shift. 6:10 p.m. for those of us on the east coast of Australia. So we don't see too many of these situations like we used to. This used to be the classic shift, Sunday afternoon, late afternoon. So we're back for this week, and we are coming up against an Eagles outfit. And I think the sentiment is very similar to last time we played them. It's one of those weird games where, and then, also adding to this, Carlton rhetoric seems to be in a no-win situation, and there's a lot of disappointment and frustration with where things are at. But, this Eagles matchup brings with it this weird expectation and situation where if you win, you're expected to win by a lot. And then if you do win by a lot, it's going to be it was just the Eagles. If you don't win by enough, it's, oh my God, we barely beat an under-12s team. And then if you lose, it's just burn the joint to the ground. Really weird. So nothing's really changed in that regard since we played the Eagles. But look, the reality is this, Blues need to win no matter what. And it would be nice to beat them by 71 points again. That was the margin last time. 17 goals, 19, 121 to 6 goals, 14, 50. I remember the last matchup, and I remember thinking, we did beat them by 71, and, the Eagles, they are where they're at. They're not anywhere near the best of what they're going to be as a group. And I watched them last week against North, an ugly game. They were very inaccurate. The effort was there, but, we see it on this end as well. The effort can be there, and sometimes the inaccuracy can just absolutely kill the momentum. So I just think we're going to be having more opportunities this week to move the ball on our terms, ultimately. That's what happened last time. I do think the Eagles will be better when they're at home. They still get a really good turnout. So do the Blues in Perth. We have a great representation in WA. And similar to early in the year, I know that we haven't had a great interstate record, but I think it's a good thing that the Blues are interstate, because there's just a lot of frustration here on this side of the country with where things are at. So they get to go home to the home away from home for a few of these guys. And so we'll rely on the Carlton supporters in WA to put on a show. And expectation is to win and win well. Hopefully we can get through unscathed. That would also be nice. We're in a really unique position when it comes to the health situation. So, Harry and Lockie Cowan have been reported on by the club in the injury report. Harry will be a test to play, and Lockie Cowan won't be available this week, but he will potentially be available around 15 or 16. Now, Lockie Cowan, I watched him at training today. I'm filming this on the Wednesday. He is just doing the modified stuff, running laps for the most part. Harry is an interesting one. I did see him at training, left knee strapped, didn't really seem to get anything close to full speed in anything that he did. He didn't train with the main group. He did a lot of, modified program activity. So I would guess he won't be coming in. Based off my eyesight of what I saw at training, I would guess he won't come in this week. Why would you? Why would you risk him? No disrespect to the Eagles, but, this is a very important match for Carlton to win. But I just don't know if risking Harry for this one is the right thing to do. And I think we've had a pretty good run at health this year, which is really surprising to be saying. And I don't want to jinx it, but the reality is we don't have anything close to the numbers on the injury list that we had and have had this time last year and this time in seasons gone by. I think Nick Newman is an interesting case study. There hasn't been an official update on him yet, but I watched him train today and I saw him do more work at higher velocity than what I saw Harry Mackay doing. And Harry Mackay it isn't deemed to be too serious. It's just reported as knee soreness. So, yeah, I'm not suggesting Nick Newman's going to be a shock inclusion this week. But, apart from him, Jagger's obviously not there. Brody Kemp's not there. Elijah's not on the injury report, but he won't be playing, and he's not a part of the calculations for this week. So there's probably 4 or 5 that would be playing if they're available, but I don't think health is a concern at this point. I think Carlton's ability to find momentum and keep momentum is one of the biggest struggles at the moment. There is more of a rounded performance that is starting to emerge from the undercurrent of all the frustration that I've been hearing, and we're not relying on the Stars as much in wins. The Stars, if anything, are below what we have become accustomed to seeing. And I don't know if that's the positive looking forward and the opportunity looking forward. When some of these guys start hitting their straps, that might elevate the team performance as well. But yeah, we're just not getting the same output from these guys that are held in such high regard as what we are accustomed to, which it is what it is. They are deemed to be stars for a reason. So yeah, I look at this game, as I said earlier, as an opportunity to refine the ball movement. The Eagles will give us an opportunity to move the ball with a bit more confidence than what other teams do. It's just the capacity that they have at this point in time. But like we've been saying all year, you can't give a team like West Coast the sniff. Any team that is towards the bottom that hasn't won a lot of games, if you give them an opportunity to believe, boy, oh boy, they will take it. We've seen the worst of that. We've seen that happen a number of times. And we saw what happened when you let that team believe a little too much, because they actually did ended up winning. So, yeah, I'm pretty confident that we're going to be capable of focusing in. There's a lot of scar tissue happening around. I'm watching a lot of panic happen on the field, and I don't know if this game is going to allow us to rectify that, but I do hope that this will allow us to find some confidence and, assert ourselves as a team. There's fear of losing. I think the best thing to do in situations of fear is be aggressive, be the aggressor. And I think at the end of the day, if things fall apart, well, if you're going at your absolute hardest without thinking and moving into that instinct, then you can't really complain too much once you've given it your all. And if it's not enough, it's not enough. Changes, I don't know. I'd personally like to see Durden come in for Will White. That would be my best guess. Durden is not injured. He didn't play last week. He was held over, so he didn't play in the VFL. We did see some strong performances from guys like Ben Camporelli, who played in the midfield obviously last week. The issue with that is, if you bring him in, it's unlikely he's going to be playing in the exact same role as what he is in the VFL. So I don't know if that's an opportunity this week. Hudson O'Keefe's been the story of the week, given he made his debut last week and didn't look out of sorts. And so for me, I wouldn't risk Harry too much with that. I would let Hudson go again and work on his craft again, and get some more reps into him, because that's going to help us. I don't know if it'll help us so much this year, but I think it'll definitely help us in the future to get games into him and help build his confidence. So I'd be keeping it as it is for the most part. Maybe one change, maybe nothing. So yeah, what about you? How do you summarize what you were seeing up until this point in the week? And how are you approaching this game against the Eagles in comparison to the last game? Share with us your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll go from there. See you on Sunday night. Go Blues.